Welcome to Design Thinking Games, the podcast where game design meets player experience, and every game is a chance to support the community. Celebrate this 5th season of the Design Thinking Games podcast by not just talking about how games play, but diving into how they're made, how they're tested, and how communities keep them alive. All types of games are on the table, from tabletop to digital, solo journaling to massive multiplayer. Come explore all forms of gaming and the design thinking behind them with your host, Tim Broadwater. Find every episode, including this one, wherever you get your podcasts, or jump in at designthinkinggames.com. Now, roll up your sleeves, open the playtest notes, and celebrate the power of play.
Welcome, everyone, to Season 5 of the Design Thinking Games podcast. It's been 5 years. It's been crazy. It's been a cool journey. We've got to interview a lot of people, and we got to talk a lot about the cool, different kind of design and game stuff that's been going on in the game industry, and for player experience and the community. Some questions that I've been getting at different conventions or events that I've been attending, I've been kind of capturing, and I thought I would speak to those specific questions. I guess question 1 is, what was the biggest shift or evolution between Season 4 and Season 5? I think we started out, kind of as a user experience podcast, and where's the intersection between UX and gaming? Because we thought, user experience people would like gaming, and a lot. That was our hypotheses. But then as we progressed through the seasons, we realized that not only was that correct, but gaming people, were kind of just more by default playtesters, creators, marketers, kind of all in one Renaissance people, because they, out of necessity, had to be. And so then we started to really focus on, interviewing game designers, and then that kind of transmogrified into, we could do this. We could start designing our own kind of game, and then flash forward to Season 5. Season 5 is, Season 4, which if you haven't listened to, you should definitely go back and listen to. It talks to a bunch of different game designers who just got published or funded on Kickstarter, their first game. And so it's exciting. They have a lot of tips and information about, how to succeed and what to do and what they learn. So that's very valuable. But Season 5 of the podcast is specifically going to focus on interviewing indie game developers and designers, and in context in the wild. And so a lot of these are taken at cons, specifically Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio, for June of 2025. So it'll be kind of a mashup of that, and we'll be promoting a lot of other different podcasters and game designers. So yeah, those are the changes that you will see kind of in Season 4, between Season 4 to Season 5. Last year, I think we maybe got 1 or 2 newsletters out. It's something we're really bad about. So we're firing up the newsletter again. So please go. And if you haven't already, sign up for the Design Thinking Game newsletter to get updates about the podcast and what conventions and stuff will be on. But more importantly, all the game updates for the bevy of games that we're kind of getting out there. Apart from the newsletter, which we'll be updating, the last thing is the Thirst board game. So Thirst, which spoke to a little bit, we'll be launching. It has been a whole process, and then especially in this climate with tariffs. I'm sure you're sick of hearing that, but that's something that we've had to kind of negotiate. As you may or may not know, Thirst, the 2 to 4 player vampire board game that Michael and I have been working on, is going to launch on October 1st, or it's already on Kickstarter and pre-launch. You can go follow it now, please do. But on October 1st, we're going to try to launch it. Where we are right now is we have a voice actor, an instructional designer, kind of working with a video editor for the Kickstarter. So we're literally putting together the final pieces for the launch, the last 2 months. And so we'll also be probably posting frequently on social media about the update and everything. But it's been a journey, and it's been a favorable one. And hey, we can. I've heard from multiple people now, from multiple game designers, some of them who are going to be featured this season in the podcast, is that, if your Kickstarter doesn't make it, it's a learning experience. You don't lose your followers. You can always retry again. And I've known multiple people that it's happened to. I'm not planning for that. I'm actually doing more so what planning to succeed. So that's the strategy. But yeah, so. Like I said, if you haven't gone to thirstboardgame.com, please go there and check it out. Sign up to be notified, and it launches this year. Now, on to a lot of the interviews conducted at Origins this year. As I walk around the outside of the Greater Columbus Convention Center at Origins Game Fair 2025, I notice out in front of me, there's a lot of yelling and movement. There are people in foam swords and shields and helmets, 10 to 20 on one side, 10 to 20 on another, and they're squaring off to boffer LARP against each other. I see a couple people in charge of it, and I asked them if they have a time to talk.
All right, well, my mundane name is Branden Webb. That's what I use in the real world. And my Amtgard name, my persona name is Brill Blacksonin. Everybody in the LARP picks their own name and their own persona to go with it.
Yep. And I'm Elliott Hedrick in the mundane world, or outside of the game. Inside of the game, I go by Bethan Ainsley the Black, with the last of that actually being part of the belt house that I'm in. As part of our game is the process of becoming families within a belt.
Squire.
At arms, squires, knights, that sort of thing, within the fantasy LARP that we do.
As children, families, young adults, fathers, mothers are beating each other in the background with foam swords and weapons, I ask, what is this?
Amtgard. Amtgard. Amtgard is a wide-ranging fantasy LARP of a generic setting all over the United States. There are chapters in every single state and in Canada. I think we still have one in Mexico.
I believe so, and at least one over in Europe as well.
Yeah, at least one over in Europe. We had one in South Korea for a while. But when I say we're generic, you can be from any fantasy world you like. You can be from D&D, you can be from Middle-earth, you can be from Game of Thrones. You just can't be one of the main characters. Like, if you're from Middle-earth, you can't be Frodo. You can be a hobbit, you can't be Frodo. And we're generic in the fact that we're not a heavy role-play game, but we encourage role-play. So you're not going to die, your character's not going to die playing our game.
Unless you want them.
Unless you want them to.
For role-play purposes, you can have that happen.
Yeah. So what we're mainly here to do is we promote a culture inside the game, learning skills, arts and sciences, teaching, doing service, and then we promote also fun and exercise through fighting and battle games.
So this is my 4th year running the Amtgard room for Origins, specifically. We have somebody else that runs Gen Con currently, who's actually here doing classwork, but
with modern technology, there's no need for me to travel. I reach out to a con, or they reach out to me through our organization's email, which is like literally this silver host of Proton Mail, and we discuss and negotiate. And then I probably have somebody in the household who's local, like we have somebody who does Indie Comic Con. They live in Indiana. We have somebody who does Colossal Con, or was going to do Colossal Con up by the Great Lakes, and they live up there. So there's no need for me to travel. They reach out to our group after seeing one of these, and I just go, okay, cool. And I turn around to our group, which has like 80 plus volunteers in the larger group. I go, hey, we have a con that wants us over there. Who wants to go do this con? And then we make sure that group has the resources they need and the volunteers they need to get it going. And then inside the Amtgard organization, we also have events. Like we have small events from like 10, 20 people, all the way up to, I think the largest one in this part of the country is Keep and all that. So it really depends what level you're at.
I want to say the largest event that we have in the country is Gather.
Either Gather or Guild Wars.
Those are down in the southern U.S.
Yeah.
And those will pull 4 digits.
As another group of individuals come up to get on their foam weapons and armor and learn how to participate in group combat, I asked the individuals if they could tell me a little bit more about the different houses in Amtgard.
Oh yes, many other houses that do different things. We have House Fierce, which supports and encourages the I can talk. The LGBTQ community within Amtgard, all over the country. He's also part of a house called House Jedi, which is another service-based household that helps run things.
We actually have a lot of Jedi.
And then the emblem I'm wearing is for a fighting company called the Mystic Falcons, which are other sub-organizations with our group, these fighting companies.
And the thing for fighting companies is we field. I'm also Mystic Falcon. We field together as a unit.
So when we go battle, our group stays together. Everybody who's wearing these joins up together, and we form as a unit. And there are other ones. There's one of the big ones in Ohio is called Tempo. There's another one called the Kingmakers. I could just go on and on. Oh yeah. We're not one of the largest LARPs in the country by far, but we are pretty big.
I'm familiar with LARPing as well as role-playing, and I think this is called boffer LARPing, so I wanted to clarify.
Oh no, you're spot on.
100%. Okay. Yeah. Foam weapons.
Sometimes also called medium contact LARPing.
Yep. We're not going full tilt, but we're also not going light touch.
Yeah. So, you don't have hit points in this game. You're not going to worry about somebody walking up to you with a little foam sword and going 2, 2, 2. Now, if I hit you in the arm, you can't use that arm anymore. This level is easy.
Yep.
Moving up from here, it gets more complex depending on what you're doing.
So what we have right now is this is just our open battlefield. Everybody has the same abilities. You know, you get hit in the arm, you lose that arm. You get hit in your torso, you die, go respawn. You get into more of the Amtgard, like at our local park days or at Amtgard-specific events. Yeah, we might be more into different characters and costumes. Brill here definitely does that more than I do. But that's also when you introduce classes. You have your warriors, your healers, your assassins. Yeah, significantly more.
Like armor gets you more hits you can take. There's archery. Right. You can shoot arrows at people. You can throw things.
For safety reasons, we don't have that
here. Your spellcasters who have little things they can throw or spells they can say. But that's just the battlefield. Off the battlefield, we have all kinds of arts, like people do weaving, sewing, storytelling, making their own armor, brewing alcohol, cooking food, telling stories, singing songs. We actually splintered off the SCA in the 80s. And even then, we're not like a lot of other LARPs. Like, okay, you go play IFGS, International Fantasy Society. They're a great LARP, but you make a character. That character is a paladin. In Amtgard, you create a persona, and our classes only go to level 6, so you'll eventually play every class. You're not locked in.
As more people come up to the Amtgard station to participate, I asked what the concerns were running an event space like this at a convention.
Two biggest things we have: we're not babysitters. Under the age of 13, they need a parent in the room. That is our organization rules. And we run into that problem a lot. Not so much here anymore because we've established the precedent. And then the other one I would say is safety. Yeah, our household, the Silver Host, we've worked very hard to have that environment where you're going to be safe here, you're going to be accepted here. If something goes wrong, we're either going to immediately handle it or get you the resources you need to handle it as quick as possible. We don't want anybody to feel unincluded. We don't want anybody to feel unsafe. None of that is tolerated in our room.
Everyone looks like they're having so much fun. There's a whole level of energy and excitement in combat when we put foam swords and shields in people's hands. And so I wanted to ask how people could get involved.
We've got a couple different spaces you can go to. The first one I recommend is amtgard.com, which is still amtgard.com. That has all of our basic rules, as well as a what's called a chapter finder, which are all of the local groups are called chapters. Now, is that always up to date? No. But it's a good place to start. From there, go look that chapter up inside of Facebook or other forums. We also have the online record keeper, also known as the Orc. I want to know whoever came up with that because they are my best friend. That is a international system. So, like, let's say that I live here in Ohio currently. I have 52 credits in Warrior. I move out to California. I go, yeah, my Orc is Ethan Ainsley the Black. They go, cool, found you. Here's your, everything carries with you. You don't have to restart every time.
Yep.
And that also really helps to
look
bring
him
that
up.
together.
You find his waiver. You find his awards. You find his attendance for every crack. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's really nice in that regard.
Oh yeah.
So those are the good places to start, as well as, and I mentioned briefly, Facebook itself. There's many Amtgard communities on Facebook. This is my 4th year running this.
This is our 17th year at Origins.
Yeah, we've been here quite some
I actually technically ran for 7, but that was COVID too. So
yeah.
And then the guy before me ran it for close to 10 years. So, oh yeah, we used to be down in the back by Hayes, and as we've gotten better, they've moved us farther up, and here we are.
Yeah. It's been since COVID in particular. It's when we got C-150 and then came, we're like, oh, we need bigger space. Oh, we need bigger space. It's one of the best problems to have. Last year, and I don't have the specific numbers with me, but I think it was our turnstile attendance was about 10% of the overall con attendance.
Well, considering when we were back down in the Hayes room, it was about 250 people for a good convention. And as we've moved up,
we saw that yesterday.
Yeah. We had 250 people on Wednesday.
End of the day is before.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
I hope I didn't take too much time.
Oh, not at all.
Thank you.
Certainly will. Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot I was there.
Thirst is a 2 to 4 player vampire versus vampire game of Dominion, in which players become powerful, monstrous, and bloodthirsty vampires. Rise from the graveyard hungry to find that you are not the only creature of darkness in town. Fight other vampires for dominion over neighborhoods and for influence. Hunt, but hunt wisely. The first vampire to accrue an influence score of 10 wins and can finally slake their thirst. Thirst is on Kickstarter. Sign up to get notified of its launch at thirstboardgame.com. Find Thirst and other things we're working on at designthinkinggames.com.
Join me, Danielle Reynolds, for Game Design Unboxed, a podcast where I interview game designers about the games they've made. From inspiration to publication, we will unbox the story of where the initial game idea came from and the following journey to getting the game made and into the player's hands every other Tuesday. But not only that, I'm taking the best parts of my podcast and turning it into bite-sized videos on Instagram and TikTok, so follow along at Game Design Unboxed to learn more tips and tricks from other industry professionals.
Thank you for listening to Design Thinking Games. Your time is valuable, and it means a lot that you spent it here in Season 5. Stay connected on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. DMs are always open. And don't forget to visit designthinkinggames.com to request topics, ask questions, or see what else is going on. If indie vampire board games sound like your thing, check out Thirst, where vampires and minions fight for influence in a dark city. Head to thirstboardgame.com to follow the journey and get updates when it launches on Kickstarter October 1st. Until next time, game on!